Well, you know, if you're curious and you know how to listen, you get a lot of information.
He always wanted to know as much as possible about everything. If he went to a new country or a new city, he wanted to know how it ticked and how the important people and how the poor people and all the rest in between were functioning.
He had those who worked with him tell me this sure instinct for what was the right story and what was the right question to ask, and where do you begin and where do you find the middle, you know, and how do you wrap it up so that people who are watching, you know, feel that you have told them something they did not know and given them an insight they did not have.
He was a public servant. He was a journalist. He didn't get elected to any office. He didn't take taxpayers' money, but he saw what he did as an essential part of a democracy, educating the public to issues so the public could make intelligent decisions.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Steinberg, very much for joining us.
I get up every day thinking that something is going to happen in the world that I didn't know about yesterday, and I have the opportunity to pass some of that on to the audience.
He was demanding of the people around him because, not because he wanted to be a tyrant, not because he wanted to be tough, but because he wanted to be good.
He wanted us, wherever possible, to be able to reflect some of the nuances that was taking place, the ambiguity that there is out there in the world.
Peter was never one to shrink from saying something to you that might cause you to think, really? Maybe? Do you think?
I think one of the crises in journalism today is that too often, too many journalists don't know who they are, and they don't assert themselves. Peter was a guy who was anchored. He had flaws, he had weaknesses, but he was fundamentally anchored in a belief that he had a public mission as a journalist, and that was his role.
Peter had very good instincts, both in terms of news and what was important, but also in terms of how to present this information to people.
When we have a national tragedy, we all turn on our television sets to be reassured that our lives are intact and that our lives have meaning. And I have the privilege of sitting at the center for periods of time, and I'm very conscious of the fact that I don't want to be pushing my emotions on other people.
So I think journalists have to remember, in an age where everything is speeded up, where we're frightened because we know there are so many choices that our viewers and listeners and readers have, and therefore we're losing our audience. Everyone is losing their audience. But we're going to accelerate that loss of audience if we forget who we are. And that's a reminder that I think would come directly from Peter Jennings.
Good evening from Philadelphia.
We'll have more on the flight of Apollo 11.
You try your very best to do your very best to get the best information possible, to be fair in the way in which you present it, to be balanced in the way you present it, and to respect your readers and your audience. And Peter did this better than virtually anybody of his time. And for the new generation of reporters, if they can emulate that, they will do well.
I'm proud to be in the same profession that Peter Jennings served so brilliantly in, to have an opportunity to look at what he did and be inspired. It feeds my imagination, it feeds my dreams, it feeds the desire to take the extra step, to tell a story, to shine a light, to give people an opportunity to feel and see and think about things that they might not have if you had not been there.
I get up every day knowing that I can learn or understand something better, and that it is my job to do so. The people will pay me to do that in order to help people understand the environment in which we live. That's fabulously exciting. No wonder we're passionate. We'd be nuts if we didn't like that.